Music, for me, the biggest thing was that it was a discipline. It was a personal challenge. If you can overcome something painful, something you don't want to do, right? But if you can overcome that, if your body is telling you to eat and you can discipline yourself to say, absolutely not. I'm in control here, then other obstacles in life aren't going to be so difficult. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not the government. They can offer advice and tools, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to change your mind and act regardless of how you feel. Now, people come in and say, oh, well, the government can help me. My friends can help me. Yes, but they can't save you. Because if they attempt to save you, then you don't learn the lesson of the struggle you were going through. You aren't actually saved. You're just setting yourself up to want to be saved again. And then you reinforce that into your head and you become a victim. So I don't care whether or not someone is coming to save you. If you act like they aren't, then you cultivate the traits of a self-reliant individual and you actually take control of your life. You guys are motivated by your goals, but the hardest thing to do is take action. And I promise you, the second that you start taking action is the second that the game of life begins. The second that you realize your goals are achievable, man. The second that you realize you are actually able to do whatever you want in your entire life, bro. That's when this thing starts. People will have negative opinions about you and every single thing you do. Let them judge. Let them react. Let them doubt you. Let them question the decisions you're making. Let them be wrong about you. Let me do what I want to do with my one wild and precious life. Every human being that is not successful versus every human being that is successful, the only difference between them is mental toughness. One group, when they come up against trials and tribulation, they shrink. One group of people, when they come up against a recession, they shrink. So, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. If you become a beast in this industry, nothing and no one will stop you. The reason why a lot of you are not where you should be is because you're not in beast mode. Keep going because you're stronger than you think. Keep going because each step forward brings you one step closer to your goals. Never fear a storm. Learn to dance in the rain. Do you know that your survival rate for every last one of those bad days is 100%? Your track record for surviving bad days is 100%. You survived every hater. You survived all the evictions. You survived the firings. You survived all the times they told you, no, we ain't hiring. You survived all the trouble you ever been in. Your survival rate is 100%. Music, year after year after year, you say you're going to be different. Year after year after year, you say, this is going to be my year. And year after year after year, you get to December, still the exact same version of yourself that you were a few years ago. How many more years do you want to keep doing this? Because eventually, you're going to run out of years. You're only here for a certain amount of time. Obviously, whatever you've been doing to become the best version of yourself is not working out. So, let me offer you a different approach. How about instead of saying this year is going to be my year, say, today is going to be my day. I'm going to get done what I need to do today. I'm going to do what the best version of myself would do today. And then when tomorrow arrives, I'm going to wake up and say, I'm going to focus on today. Stop thinking about the mountain you're setting out to climb in the upcoming year. Think about the step you have to take today that's going to get you closer to the top. You have to want to be better. And it starts off with you having pride in yourself. You have to have pride in yourself. You have to have, there's something about you, whether it's your last name, whether it's just the smallest thing. You have to be proud of yourself. And if you have no pride in yourself, I can't give it to you. Someone has to be the one to break the cycle in your family. Why not you? And why not you be the example and the role model to everyone else in your family and your extended family? I think the easiest thing in life is to give up on whatever you know, whatever you're focused on, or whatever you're hopeful for. The hardest thing is to keep going. But we have to continue to hold on. Music, whatever you want to do, believe it, believe it, believe it. Even if you don't believe, play the game of belief. Act as if you believe. That is power. That is sheer power, and it will happen. Believe you me? So never give up. Believe, believe, believe. Life is about losing. As we get older, we lose our hair, we lose our teeth, we lose our mothers, our fathers, our sisters. But the ones who overcome their loss in life, shun away adversity and are always willing to fight it every particular moment in life, are the ones that are able to transcend and be able to spread the word to other people who are in that same particular gender as they are. Death is the wisest advisor that a warrior has, because when he thinks that all is lost, he can ask death, "Is that so?" And death will reply, "No, I haven't touched you yet." You experience the freedom and sense of power that comes from letting go of the past and facing life with a confident, life-affirming attitude. There will be no turning back. You will stop listening to people who try to arbitrarily set limits on what you can achieve. And you will have that touch of madness and insanity that all great inventors and builders have. Just enough madness to try something that no one else has tried before, and just enough insanity to pull it off. The most important question to ask is, what pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for? Anything worthwhile is going to require some degree of pain and struggle. So, if you're oriented toward the pain and the struggle, you're probably going to be more aligned with what you're capable of accomplishing rather than if you just orient toward the pleasures. Every day, sunrise, sun goes down. So, that means there is an up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our time. We have exhaled 50% of our time. Meaning always 50/50ths. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out. Success and failure. I want you to realize this truth. Perspective is everything in life. And the beautiful thing about perspective is that perspective is in your control. Nobody else can control your perspective. But when your perspective is your power, you know that things that happen to you, happen for you. You know that the things that are supposed to break you, actually are going to build you. You know that failures that happen in your life, actually the failure is just feedback to grow something better in your life. You think that everything the mind tells you, you need to follow. That means freedom. No, for us it's the other way around, to learn and not follow what the mind tells you. This is the first step towards freedom. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. You've got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You've got to control it. If not, it's over. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. Maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming all the things that aren't us so we can become the people we're really destined to become. There's no way you lose when you go after a dream. You don't. It always leads to something better. Always. The responsible thing to do is to listen to your heart. It wasn't hard to work at the shitty job because I was always thinking about the exciting job I was going to do afterwards. And every night that I just went up on stage, and if it just went moderately okay, I couldn't believe it. Have you ever had that level of excitement doing any other job? That's what it's like when you go after a dream job. So nothing is worse than not going after it. And so many of us, we're afraid of the silence. We're afraid to be alone. We're afraid because we know the voice in our head when we're alone is one that doesn't lift us up but brings us down. And it might seem dark and it will be cold and you'll be lonely. But I promise, as you work through that cold and dark place, you will find who you are. You will find your voice. You'll understand who you are when there's no support around you. Because I hate to break it to you, that's going to happen on this path to growth and this path to success. Time is the currency we're playing with in every moment of our lives. It's the center point of our influence. I talk about the roulette table of my life. It's the frame I think through where we wake up in the morning with these 24 chips. If you spend 8 hours sleeping, you wake up with 16 chips left. And how you place those chips on this roulette table that sits in front of us just before the wheel spins every day determines all of our outcomes in our lives. There are many things in this world that we all wish weren't true. There are many things that we want to be that just aren't. The game that you're playing is human psychology. There is no greater control than control over oneself. Every day that you're working to build something, whether it's a business, whether you're trying to be the greatest parent of all time, it doesn't matter. If you fail to understand that the name of the game is changing yourself, acquiring skills, identifying the gap between who you are today and the person you want to become, and accepting that you can do anything you set your mind to without limitation. So now, how you spend that time, what skills you begin to acquire in order to execute against that future vision you have of yourself, that is everything. But you're going to have to be willing to suffer along the way, right? Believe in what you're doing. Sometimes all you've got to do is stay the course and outlast whatever the opposition and adversity may be. Right? When it comes to whatever you consider to be success, whatever success means to you, properly define it, but always look at it in terms of, do I love what I do? Do I know what I'm doing? If opposition and adversity happens, will I still believe in what I'm doing? Love what you're doing. Know what you're doing. But above all, believe in what you're doing, man. Turn your feelings off when it comes down to you wanting to be better. What that means is when that alarm clock goes off, your feelings have got to go away. It's raining outside. It's cold outside when you don't want to put those long hours in at work. That's what I'm talking about. Your feelings must go away when everybody leaves to go home and there's only one light on in a building, 15-story building and only one office. That's the mother right there you've got to be. That is true. But you've got to learn to shut your feelings off if you want to achieve greatness. People that are hungry always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry know if you want to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do today. Everything tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'll get to it the next day. Who told you you had tomorrow? Who told you that? Like, come on. Come on. Like, we now, opportunity wasted. Not. No opportunity wasted. Not. No opportunity wasted. How arrogant are you to think that if you don't do it right now, do it when you have the opportunity, that you're going to have the same opportunity a week from now? How arrogant. How arrogant of you to think that if you don't get it done today that same opportunity is going to present itself 6 weeks later. How arrogant of you. The number one thing that's going to change your life, the only thing that will change your life, change your business, change your money, change your relationship is you must raise your standard. Music, the only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards. It means that all of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. We all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. I say chase your dreams, man. Do that thing, man, that keeps you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man. That makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. You always, that thing, man, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you've got a new idea. That's what you've got to chase. 'Cause anything else, it's going to disappoint you. You're going to forever be sad, man. If you don't chase that dream, you're going to forever be miserable, man. I would hate to die and never do the thing I was born to do. That's a sad thing, man. There's times in your life when things are going to happen that you've got to begin to put your dream on hold and you might have to reinvent yourself. It's called life. And don't tell everybody about it. 80% don't care. 20% are glad it's you. You have to suck it up and handle it. Being a risk taker, walking by faith and not by sight, stuff happens to you is something that you have to harness, something that you want to be. You have to be that person that has developed a game-changer mindset. A person that wants to be the uncommon amongst the uncommon. A game changer is a person that says, I've been training my entire life to take the big shot. I'm talking about a person that knows their value and knows that when they come to the table, they're the best in the world. A game changer has built that belief through hard work. They know who they are and they bring the difference to the table. Music, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Music, because the war path is also a war against weakness and so it leads to strength. It is a war against ignorance and so it leads to knowledge. It is a war against confusion and so it delivers understanding. When the war path leads to control and to ownership of your life, that is the war path. The path of fire and adversity, the path of blood and sweat and suffering. The war path is the interminable path of discipline, which is why it leads to freedom. In the end, the war path leads to peace. I want you to imagine that there's a power flowing into your consciousness. This power flows to and through us and it never stops. Now when the power flows into our consciousness, we could call it thought power if you choose. You can think anything you want. You can think anything you want. No one can cause you to think something you don't want to think. What we want to do is learn how to control the flow of this energy. We want to learn how to control the flow of thought energy and let it flow freely to and through us, improving everything with which it connects. You see, we're really in charge of our results. The results that we get in our life can be altered because on a conscious level, you have a choice. You see those two symbols? One's negative, one's positive. There is the power flowing in. You can think anything you want. You can choose to think of what you don't want or you can choose to think of what you do want. You can look at what's wrong with life or you can look at what's right with it. You do have a choice. That power, you can build it into anything you choose. There's going to be so many hours where you will be alone. You'll feel like there's no one there to support you. And it may not be because you've been abandoned, but because those people have to tend to their own lives. Learning to be self-reliant. Learning to stand in front of the fire, to face the crowd head-on by. Yourself is what will rally the troops. That's what brings the reinforcement. So often we say, I'll go if you go. I'll stay if you stay. Be the one that goes. Be the one that steps forward into the fire unafraid, knowing that it's not because you're going to get burned, but it's because it's going to burn off the old you. Burn off that old you and let the new you shine. You'll find that you're fireproof. You'll find that you're unstoppable. You want to know how strong you are? Let's go test it. You say you love life. If you want to live life, I'm going to show you life. Life is beautiful. But you have to accept the good and the bad as being beautiful. You guys can't accept the good or this is, then we do somehow our life sucks. Life is beautiful. Life gave us the ability to just know that on our journey in life we met them. We loved them. We cared about them, they cared about us. That's the purpose of life. Just to enjoy what we had while we journey through it. Apparently the stress and the worries and the fear arise somewhere and that somewhere is individually always inside oneself. But nevertheless, we try to fix this issue. We try to look for the solution. Yeah. Not inside of you. We try to find it out there. Sometimes people are too close to you to see your greatness. You're too familiar. So what a lot of us do, we go to our spouse, we go to our friends, we go to all these people that are close to us and we try to show our gifts and our talents and they normalize your greatness. I believe this is true. I believe God will place strangers in your life to take you to higher places. So don't be surprised if your support system doesn't come from familiar faces. Don't be surprised if your support system doesn't come from blood, doesn't come from family, doesn't come from the friends you have history with, but they're too close to you. They're too familiar with you. Anything we get familiar with, we get desensitized to. So the mistake that a lot of us make is we go to what's closest to us in proximity when you need to just give it to the world. You need to just give it to the world and let the world validate your vision. Music, if you could have what you needed and wanted, what would that be? And that's a meditative question. You don't want to force an answer out of yourself. You want to ask yourself that like you'd ask someone else. If I could have what I wanted, what would that look like? If I could have the relationship that I needed and wanted, if I could have the friendships, if I could have the job or career, if I could have the educational pathway, if I took care of myself properly, if I regulated my susceptibility to temptations, what would that look like if it was optimized? And then that sets you up a goal that has some motivational force. This is worth doing. The next goal is to take your goal and to fragment it into micro goals until you find a micro goal that's small enough that it still presents some challenge that you will do. Most people overestimate what they're going to do in a year and they underestimate what they'll do in a decade. And I know a decade sounds like a long time, but how many can remember where you were a decade ago and realize the time has gone like this and our whole world's accelerating? So a decade will go by before you even know it. The question is, what are you going to do with it? And you want to make sure when you're alive at the end of that decade, you're a different universe than when you started. So in the short term, it may go up and down, but in the long term it's explosive. So as you begin to look toward making this your decade, as you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you've got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave behind? Because this no longer fits looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you have for you. What is it that you must do differently? No matter what's going on in your life, it's not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there are two things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it. All the experts are agreed that in each of us there are deep reservoirs of ability, even genius, that we habitually fail to use. Why? We know that most people desire by nature to succeed. But what is success? What is this word that has become so famous in the world? What does it mean? Most people don't know what success is all about. And since they don't know what it's about, they really don't know where to look for it. Success is really nothing more than the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This means that any person who knows what he's doing and where he's going is a success. Any person with a goal toward which he's working is a successful person. The problem with most people is that they're playing the world's most unrewarding game. And the name of the game is follow the follower, a goal. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder. He doesn't know where he's going. He then belongs to that 95% that are just living day by day, month after month like a starfish or an amoeba. He needs to know where he's going. Back in the early days of navigation, sailors used to see a strange sight in the Antarctic. They'd see a giant iceberg towering high out of the sea and it would be moving against the wind. The wind would be blowing this way. The great iceberg would be moving right into the teeth of the wind. And this of course frightened the sailors whose ships were powered by the wind until it was discovered that of course only a fraction of the great berg was visible and that its huge ponderous roots were caught in the great currents of the ocean and it was being moved purposely along its way regardless of the winds and the tides on the surface. Well, this is what a man needs. He needs his roots deep in a great mainstream of his own choosing. And then he'll move along his way regardless of the winds on the surface of his life or short-term expediency. And he'll get to where he's going. I think you've got to stop waiting for someone to come along and root for you. You've got to do that for yourself. And if you get lucky, you'll find a few people who really believe in you. But if your plan relies on luck to succeed, it's not a plan. It's a bet. And if you're going to bet, then you might as well bet on you, not them. You would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. It says adopt the mindset. I'm not stuck. I'm being shaped. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. Right? So often we go through seasons and we feel stuck. We feel like we're not moving. We feel like we're not growing. No. Remember, every season is serving a greater purpose. And those seasons where you may feel stuck, understand, no, you're just being shaped. You're being shaped in order to step into the new season that is for you. But in order to get there, you have to be shaped in the right way. So what may feel like being stuck in the moment is really you just being shaped for alignment and authenticity so that you can step into that next season. Right? But embrace those seasons where you have to feel, where you have to be shaped. Embrace those seasons where you have to be pulled and pushed in order to be moved internally so that you can step into what is for you externally. Embrace those seasons because they're serving a purpose and they are so incredibly vital. Those are really the seasons that develop your character, develop your resilience, develop your strength, develop you internally. Into the person that can step into the things that are for you. Music, becoming closer to your vision, becoming the person that you strive to be does not demand perfection, but rather the persistent and pure desire for better and for good. It's easy for us to get hyper-fixated on not making a mistake or not making a wrong turn. When we start to overanalyze and paralyze ourselves with fear or doubt, it makes us hesitant in the way we pursue action. And hesitancy is not good. Now these mistakes, these failures, these wrong turns ultimately do not matter. The only thing that is demanded of you in order to make the changes that you want to make is the pure and persistent desire to be better and to be good. And this paired with time, anything can be. If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who could do it. A woman cooking dinner has only to act like a great chef to turn out a better meal. The student who begins to act like a top student will begin to get better grades. You can even look much better by simply acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like. The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation, you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person. Yes, I know you're tired. I know you're tired of making and breaking promises with yourself over and over and over. It's a cycle. You make a promise, you break the promise, you make the promise, you break the promise. In this new year, you're making so many promises. But in the back of your mind, in the back of your heart, in the depths of your heart, you're like, I'm going to break this promise. It's time to not do that. It's called discipline. It's called set the play and run it. Set it and run. It has nothing to do with how you feel. You set the play. Feelings aside, run the play. Music, there's a quote by Carl Jung that says, in all chaos, there is a cosmos, and in all disorder, there is a secret order. We as humans are experiencing this chaos and this disorder on a daily basis at a very personal level, not only externally but internally. And what this quote is saying is that maybe it's for a reason. And I think it's very hard for us to grasp that all this pain and all this disorder and all this unknown could potentially maybe be for a reason. Be a part of a harmony that we can't hear. And when you really get to the root of it, you're left with a choice. Do I want to live a hopeless life or do I want to live a hope-filled life? And I choose to believe the latter. I choose faith. I choose hope. I choose to look chaos and disorder in the eye and say, you know what? Maybe you're doing me a favor. Maybe you're just a lesson that I really need to learn and grasp to take my next step forward. Things aren't falling apart. They're falling into place. There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life. It's the only life we've got. And remember to think. Imagination is everything, and we can become what we can imagine. If you find yourself getting depressed and down at the mouth, as we all get once in a while, you might want to remember this quotation by Dean Briggs. He said, "Do your work. Not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing's sake. That little more which is worth all the rest. And if you suffer as you must, and if you doubt as you must, do your work. Put your heart into it, and the sky will clear. And then out of your very doubt and suffering will be born the supreme joy of life." Believe it or not, in an age where we've come to nearly deify leisure time, we've almost lost sight of the fact that virtually all our satisfactions, rewards will come not from our leisure, but from our work. And don't forget the strangest secret. We become what we think about. I feel like too often we allow our present moment to be defined by the past in terms of everything that happens. I think in a lot of ways if we don't change the way we think about our current circumstance or we don't change the way we think about our lives, then it's not going to change. We keep on repeating the same thoughts and the same experiences via our thoughts, and in that way we're experiencing the same reality. I feel like regardless of how new each day is and regardless of how new every circumstance is in terms of life continuing to move forward, as long as our mind remains stagnant in some type of previous state, nothing is actually going to change. And that's why I feel like it's important to instill some type of belief in yourself when it comes to your future. If you believe that you can, why haven't you tried? And if you don't believe in yourself, then there's no point in trying at all. I think it's important to sort of instill some type of action based on the faith that we have in ourselves. Like if you truly think you can do something, then it's your responsibility to go out and do it. And I feel like even if you don't, it's your responsibility to truly figure out. I feel like a lot of us try to answer our own questions without actually going out there and finding a solution. You can't go to the future holding on to the biology of your past. Decide what thoughts you can't bring to your future. Write them down. Thoughts like, "I can't. It's too hard. I'll never change. I'll start tomorrow. What's wrong with me? It's someone else's fault." Decide on what behaviors or actions or unconscious habits you have to change. How do you talk? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Just become so conscious of those behaviors that you'll never go unconscious again. And lastly, you have to decide what emotions no longer belong in your future. That means if you want to be wealthy, you can't take lack. If you want to be healthy, you can't take insecurity or fear. You've got to begin to condition your body to a new mind. If you do this every single day, your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Change any one of those things, and you change your life. But what if it truly works out better than you ever imagined? Think about it for a second. How many of the wonderful things that have happened to you in your life were perfectly planned? How many did you see coming? How many happened in accordance to your timeline, showed up when you most expected it? Some of them. Any of them. Probably not the majority of them. So, with that being said, I know that you've tried 1,000 times before. But what if this next go opens the door that you've been waiting for? Or better yet, what if this next go opens the door that's better than you ever expected? Remember, it's your responsibility to keep moving, keep learning, keep trying, keep trusting in the process, and it may just be better than you ever imagined. Real confidence slowly takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now your life will not be transformed overnight. There'll be no sudden miracles per se, but steadily day by day you'll grow into the image you hold in your mind. If you doubt this, try it for 30 days and watch what happens. You've got nothing to lose. The time is going to pass anyway. Why not put it to work? Becoming the person you most want to become. It's the trick of the experts in every field. Fate, destiny. These words get thrown around like there's some kind of magic, like the universe has already laid out a perfect plan for your life, and all you have to do is wait for it to unfold. Music, but let me tell you something. That's not how it works. Destiny isn't something that's handed to you. Fate isn't some predetermined path that's just waiting for you to stumble onto it. If you think it is, you'll spend your whole life waiting, hoping, wondering why things aren't happening for you. That's not destiny. That's passivity. And there's a big difference between the two. Your destiny, your real destiny is out there. It exists, but it's not waiting for you. It's waiting on you. Waiting for you to step up. Waiting for you to take the first step. Waiting for you to stop hoping that life will hand you something and start creating it for yourself. Here's the truth, and it might be hard to hear. The universe doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't owe you anything. It's not going to put success, meaning, or purpose into your hands just because you want it badly enough. If you want to chase your destiny, you have to be willing to fight for it. You have to be willing to bleed for it. You have to be willing to go to war with yourself for it. And yes, I said with yourself because that's where the real battle is. It's not the world that's stopping you. It's not the obstacles, the competition, or the circumstances. It's you. It's the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough. You can't do this. You're going to fail. It's the fear that keeps you small. The doubt that keeps you frozen. The excuses that keep you from taking the risks you know you need to take. But here's the thing about fate. It's not fixed. It's not rigid. It bends to those who are willing to act. It's forged by those who refuse to accept the life that's been handed to them, who refuse to settle for less than what they're capable of. Fate doesn't decide your future. You do. And let's be honest, chasing your destiny is terrifying. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. Because to chase your dreams, to go after the life you want, you have to let go of the life you already have. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, to take risks, to fail, not once, not twice, but over and over again. That's the price of destiny. That's the cost of greatness. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. Most people look at their dreams and think that would be nice, but they're not willing to sacrifice for it. They're not willing to risk their comfort, their security, their ego. And so they stay where they are. They settle. They let their dreams die inside of them slowly, quietly until they convince themselves that they never really wanted them in the first place. But not you. Not if you're still listening. Because if you're still here, there's something inside you that refuses to settle. There's something inside you that knows you're meant for more. There's something inside you that's willing to fight for it. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you stumble, no matter how much it hurts. And let me tell you, it will hurt. Chasing your destiny will break you. It will push you to your limits. It will force you to confront every fear, every insecurity, every weakness you have. But that's the point. Because destiny isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the strength you build, the resilience you forge, the person you create through the struggle. You have to understand something. The version of you that's sitting here right now, the version of you that's safe, that's scared, that's comfortable, that version of you cannot achieve your destiny. It's not capable of it. If you want to claim your fate, you have to let that version of yourself die. You have to shed the old you, the weak you, the you that's been holding yourself back. And that's hard. It's painful because growth is painful. Change is painful. But you know what's even more painful? Regret. Looking back on your life and realizing that you let fear win. Realizing that you had a chance to create something incredible and you didn't take it. Realizing that you let the life you could have had slip through your fingers because you were too afraid to reach for it. Don't let that be your story. Don't let fear, doubt, or comfort keep you from chasing your dreams because your destiny is out there. And yes, it's going to take everything you have to reach it. But isn't that the point? Isn't that what makes it worth it? Fate doesn't favor the passive. It doesn't reward the ones who sit and wait. Fate favors the bold. The ones who step into the fire, the ones who take risks, the ones who fail and rise and fail again because they know that every failure is a step closer to their dreams. So what are you waiting for? Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready. You'll never be ready. The stars will never align. The perfect time will never come. Your destiny isn't a gift. It's a challenge. It's a test. And the question is, are you willing to face it? Are you willing to do what it takes? No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall. Because if you're willing to step into the unknown, to fight for your dreams, to claim your fate, then there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Not the obstacles, not the failures, not the doubts. The only thing standing between you and your destiny is you. So stop waiting. Start moving and don't stop until the life you've dreamed of is the life you're living. Your fate is yours to claim, so claim it.